Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Welcome back to World 360. Do you remember that 2 years ago, everyone on social media was changing their profile pictures to the color blue, and the hashtag Blue for Sudan was trending? International celebrities like Rihanna and Demi Lovato changed their display pictures too, and so did many of us in India. The reason people did that was to show solidarity with 26-year-old Mohammed Matar, a Sudanese pro-democracy protester who died in a brutal military crackdown in the capital Khartoum on June 3, 2019. Blue was Mohammed's favorite color. Now, the military crackdown in June happened after longtime Sudanese dictator Omar al-Bashir was overthrown by the army earlier in April that year. Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan became the de facto head of the state, and a transitional military council was formed. But this didn't sit well with pro-democracy forces who were in favor of a civilian-led transitional government, not a military one. And so large-scale sit-ins and protests against the military followed. Then came the Khartoum massacre, in which about 180 people died, including Mohammed. There were even reports that dead bodies were dumped into the river Nile. Since then, Sudan's transition to democracy has been rocky, to put it lightly. Matters were made worse when earlier this week, al-Burhan seized power and dissolved the Sovereign Council, a body set up after al-Bashir's overthrow to share power between the military and civilians and pave way for the free elections. Al-Burhan was supposed to hand the leadership of the Sovereign Council to a civilian next month, which would have decreased the military's hold on power. Abdalla Hamdok, appointed as Sudan's Prime Minister in 2019 to serve the country during its transition to civilian rule, was also ousted by al-Burhan. He and his wife returned home 2 days ago following international condemnation of the power grab in Sudan. The US said it would suspend aid to Sudan, and the EU has threatened to do the same. Al-Burhan has said the military seized power to prevent a civil war, but it's clear to see what's happening. Sudan is in its second coup in 2 years. If we zoom out for a second, we can see that Africa has experienced more coups than any other continent. Countries like Mali, Guinea, and Chad also witnessed coups this year alone. And there was even an attempted coup in Jordan. US researchers Jonathan Powell and Clayton Thine have defined coups as military takeovers that lasted at least 7 days. And according to this definition, there have been 101 coups in Africa since 1952. A research paper points out that there's been an average of around 4 coups a year between 1960 and 2000 in Africa. It dipped to 2 a year in 2020, but this year it shot up to 6 coups or attempted coups so far. Experts have said there are many possible reasons why this is happening in the African countries: radical Islamists, the COVID pandemic, poor economic performance of certain countries, and post-colonial power struggles. But Polish-Nigerian political editor Remi Adekoya, however, pointed out in a CNN article that we should unfortunately prepare ourselves for the eventuality of more coups in Africa in the coming years. They are not to be expected in richer countries with strong institutions such as South Africa, Ghana, and Botswana, but in the poorer, more fragile states. The thing to remember with coups in the African continent, however, is that there are a lot of nuances. Sometimes it's difficult to characterize a coup when heads of state deposed held office through less than credible democratic elections, like in Guinea with President Alpha Condé. Then you have times when something extraordinary happens, like when Chadian leader Idriss Deby was overthrown and the army installed his son as interim president, leading a transitional military council. His opponents called it a dynastic coup. There's also a 20-minute podcast by DW called The 77%, where youths in African countries came to debate the frequency of coups in the African continent. And while some call this the curse of Africa because corruption is so widespread, others said coups were becoming an alternative to dictators who had been in power for far too long. The situation in Sudan is clearly hitting new lows. Sudanese political cartoonist Khalid Al-Baya put it aptly when he said, "This time it's not about blue for Sudan, It's about blue for democracy. Thank you for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode.